So Happy New Year. So this weekend we celebrate the beginning of the new liturgical year here with the first Sunday of Advent. And during this year, we're calling it the Year of Communion, where we're going to emphasize how we are called to come together in communion, how we're called to come together to be a Eucharistic community, to be a community that's built on love, on Christ's love. So St. Benedict was convinced that the way to true discipleship was through living in a loving community. He realized that if we were to grow in holiness, we had to grow in our ability to love others. As a Catholic, we do believe that Christ is calling us into his mystical body, the church. And so we have to learn how to love each other, how to operate within his mystical body, operate within the church, within our communities, within our families, our parishes, our neighborhoods, how to reach out and truly care for those around us and to truly love them. He wrote these rules about community life. Those rules that he wrote some 1,400 years ago can be applied to our daily life now, can be applied to our communities, can be applied to our family, so we can learn from those rules how we can grow together as a loving community. So one of the things that was important to St. Benedict was the vows that he had his monks take. You know, today, most of the religious take vows of poverty and obedience and chastity. But St. Benedict had his monks take vows of obedience and stability and conversion of life. He saw those being the three essential things to grow together as a community. Also important to St. Benedict is how the monk spent his day. He encouraged his monks to spend his day in prayer, work, and study. In a couple of weeks, we'll talk more about how to bring that prayer, work, and study that St. Benedict talked about into the life of our family, into the life of our community. So Father Dwight Longenecker has written this book, St. Benedict for Busy Parents. And in the book, he outlines how these rules, how he calls the two Holy Trinities, should be applied to our life within our family. The first Holy Trinity being those vows that the monks took of obedience, stability, and conversion of life. And the second Holy Trinity being those ways in which St. Benedict suggested that the monks live their life through prayer, work, and study. And so the weekend of December 8th, the Knights of Columbus will be handing out this book, St. Benedict for Busy Parents, to all of us who are interested in learning how we can apply St. Benedict's rules to our daily life. St. Benedict constantly proposed that the way we treat others helps us to grow in that Christ, where Christ said that he is in each one of us. And so how we work and treat others in our family, others in our community, help us to grow in what it means to be a true disciple of Christ. So next week, we'll look at the rules St. Benedict gave us for obedience, stability, and conversion of life. Throughout this year, in the Year of Communion, we'll be looking at different saints and what they told us about coming together as a community and the advice that they gave about how we should come together as a community. We'll start during Advent and Christmas season looking at the practical advice that St. Benedict gave about living in community. Then during the period from the end of the Christmas season to the beginning of Lent, we'll look at the advice that St. Ignatius of Loyola gave to form the Jesuits, a community of men who came together to do God's will. During Lent, we'll study St. Teresa of Lisieux's little way for living in community through God's love. Then during Easter, we'll look at the letters of St. Paul to the early Christian communities he established, especially his comments on how the Holy Spirit brings us together in communion. Over the summer, we'll look at St. John Paul II, who gave us the theology of love and defended human dignity to unite society in a worldwide community of love. Finally, as we approach our patron saint's feast day on October 28th, we'll call on the intercessions of St. Simon and Jude to make our parish a true Eucharistic community. On Monday, December 2nd, we'll be having our annual Advent penance service, so come and join us from 6 to 9 here in the church. We'll have around 15 priests here in the church hearing confessions throughout that time. Next week on Saturday, December 7th, our Hispanic Council will be sponsoring our Lady of Guadalupe celebration and posadas. Come and join us. We'll start right after the 5 o'clock Mass with celebration and the celebration of the posadas. At 7 o'clock, we'll have the Mass for Our Lady of Guadalupe, and then that'll follow that. We'll have a feast celebrating Our Lady of Guadalupe.